Okay, welcome. Today we're going to be looking at the topic of is it fair? So the keywords for today are authority, discrimination, equality, identity, justice, and prejudice. I want you to take a couple of minutes, write down the definition of these keywords, make sure you know them. If you don't, you need to go back and look at what they mean and then write them down. So pause the video now and write down the keywords. Go. So if you've written down these keywords or if you've paused the video and you're back, we'll carry on. I hope you've done it. If you haven't, please make sure you go back and do it, because it just ensures you know your keywords and you're improving your understanding, and you can use these keywords in your 8 and 6 mark question. Okay, so looking at the topic of equality, I want you to just consider these questions. So have a look at the red box, consider the question. Purple box, green box. Can you respond to these questions? Can you give a strong view, articulating clearly what you think and why? Because that's really important, especially for your 8 mark question. That is pivotal. And then last but not least, this idea of positive discrimination. Is it something you agree with? Why? I mean, that's a challenging question right there. Do you agree with positive discrimination? Do you think it's right to do that? Do you think it's wrong? Do you think it's still discrimination? Do you have a view? If you don't have a view, you need to pause this video now and think about your view. Then you need to also think about what is an alternative view against your view. The view that you just gave a moment ago, what would somebody who disagrees with you, what would they say and why would they say that? What is the justification they come up with? It is really important, guys, that you learn to articulate your thinking clearly before you're speaking and you're writing. So again, just looking at some questions. And some things to remember. No two people are the same. Everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses, and they're different. Everyone gets treated differently because fundamentally we are all different. So is equality possible? And what things stop it from happening? And a really challenging question for some of you who are going for an A star is I want you to think about this question. Can you have justice without having equality? Can you actually have justice without having equality? What is your answer to that? Can you come up with a really strong, opinionated question to put inside your 8 mark? Okay, so looking at these quotes. And the focus on here is on equality. So thinking about the quote from Christianity, there is no difference between Jew or Greek, slave or free, male or female, for you are all one in Christ. What does that mean? What's it saying? What's it implying? What's it inferring? What's it trying to teach us? What's it emphasizing? Can you articulate what this quote is trying to teach us? And the quote below, God does not show favoritism, but accepts men from every nation who fear him and do what is right. On what condition will God accept people? The color of the skin, the age? Nope. What is the condition that's put here? In Islam, oh people, we created you from the same male and female. So if we were created from the same male and female, what does that mean about our status? What does that mean about how we treat each other? What does that mean about how we see each other? The best of you is, in the sight of God, is the one who's most righteous. What does that imply about how we should treat each other? What does it imply about how God sees us and therefore how we should treat each other? And lastly, from Christianity, so God created man in his own image. But this is a fantastic quote. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. If God made me in his image, then how should you treat me? Should you treat me unfairly, just? Should you treat me horribly? Should you treat me well? What would a religious person say to this? What would you say to this? What are your views as well? So I've written half of an 8 mark question. I want you to just look at the question. It says, does equality matter? Or equality matters, do you agree? And I've already started the question. I would like you to improve this question and either finish it for me or rewrite the question. The parts I'm missing in this specific point is the alternative opinion and the conclusion. Would it get 8 marks? Do you want to rewrite it? Can you rewrite it? Improve this question for me. Pause the video and do that now. Okay, so if you've come back, it means you've answered that question. The next topic we're looking at is money. Christians should use their money to help those in need. On this slide, there are lots and lots and lots of teachings about how money should be used and how Christians see money. And in purple on the left-hand box, there's a quote there from Jesus saying, "You can't serve both God and money." What does that quote mean? What does that quote infer? What does it imply? What does it suggest about the use of money? What does it suggest about our desire for money and how it can throw us off sometimes? And so what is God trying to emphasize? Is he trying to emphasize that he doesn't want us to use money? He doesn't want us to have money? Or he wants us to be wise and not bow down to money and not give in to money and not be lustful, greedy for money? In Islam, they see money as loaned to them by God, so it's not really theirs. It's not really theirs to use how they will. It's a good thing as long as it's earned honestly. And have a look at the different teachings here. I mean, these teachings are really important. If you should get a 6-mark question and you haven't got all of these points clearly articulated in your 6-mark question, then, I mean, why would you even think about securing 6 marks or half the marks? You need to give as much detail and depth as you can in your 6-mark question. So again, these are very, very specific quotes. Again, you can't serve both God and money. The Quran says, "Riches are sweet and a source of blessing, but they are not blessed for him who seeks them out of greed." What's that saying? What's that implying? What's that telling us about how money should be used? If you possessed all the gold in the earth, you could not buy a place in heaven. What's that telling us about money? What's that telling us about heaven? What's that telling us about which is more important and why? And again, we've got some more quotes. So we've got a range of different quotes we could use, whichever one you're most comfortable with. What do these quotes suggest about how religious people view the use of money? What does it tell us? What can we bring out? What can we tease out? What detailed explanations can we give looking at these different verses, these different quotes? I mean, so if you're next to someone, what you need to do is pause the video, have a look at these quotes, and literally play ping pong with each other. One person gives a quote and tells you what they think it means, and then you bounce off each other till you get a really, really strong full answer, and you repeat that with the other quotes as well. Do that for the next couple of minutes. See if you can really, really articulate the religious teachings on the use of money. Okay, in justice, I want you to think about these questions. Again, pause the video and just have a look at it. Could you answer these questions? Could you answer them well? Could you answer them in detail? Could you articulate your view really clearly? Most importantly, can you answer the question in that challenge, in that stretch and challenge? Who are these organizations that campaign? What do they do? Why do they do this? Now, this topic also came up in year 10. It repeats itself in this topic, or sorry, this section of organizations and people that campaign against injustice came up in year 10. Can you remember the learning from there? Can you link it to this teaching on injustice? Can you give me the name of an organization or an individual that has fought for justice? Because that came up in the exam question last year or the year before. Would you be able to articulate your view? Would you be able to give me the response to that question? Okay, so have a look at these. These are Christian quotes. Blessed are they who maintain justice, who constantly do what is right. What's that telling us? For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and iniquity. Another word for sin is iniquity. I know that the Lord secures and makes justice for the poor and upholds the cause of the needy. What does that mean about poor people when we see them? When we see injustices against the poor and against people who don't have access to good medicine or a doctor or good justice or good law? What do we do when we see that? Do we just sit there and watch them, or do we get involved? And so these quotes are telling us something. What are they telling us? So there are questions all on the left-hand side. Who are Christian on the right-hand side? Who are Christian Aid and how do they stand up for injustice? How did Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu stand up for injustice? How did Gandhi stand up for injustice? And to think about these questions. Okay. Again, I want you to look at these quotes. I want you to fill in the blanks at the top. Just pause the video and have a look at it. But I want you to look at this quote. If anyone saved a life, it will be as though he saved the whole of humanity. What does that mean about justice and fairness? What's that teaching us about our fellow man? Is Allah telling us to overlook them? Is He telling us to take care of them? It's a Muslim's duty to help everybody in need. The Quran says, the best of you is he or she who is of most benefit to others. Not who is of most benefit to yourself, but no, the person who is of most benefit to other people. Do you serve, care, watch, over, help, support other people? Because if you do, then actually Allah says that the justice that you're bringing forth is fantastic. If you're just worried about yourself, there's some issues there. It's really important for us to recognize what's in this red box, that Muslims have an obligation to act if they see any fellow human being being unjustly treated, no matter what race, religion they are. Again, have a look at these quotes. O you who have believed, this is from Islam, be constantly standing firm in justice, witness for Allah, even if it's against yourself and your parents and your relatives. He tells us to stand up for justice, even if it's against yourself, even if it's against your parents, even if against your family. What is that implying, telling us about the importance of justice? Allah commands justice and good conduct. Do not let the hatred of a people prevent you from being just. Even if you dislike someone, even if you hate someone, do not be unjust towards them, because God will not approve. I want you to think about Islamic Relief. What do they do? How do they work to prevent justice? I want you to think about Malcolm X. What did he do to prevent and fight against justice? You will need to know at least one of these people or organizations, at least one of each, because it might come up in your exam. It's come up before. It comes up as a 6-mark question. So make sure you're aware of this and you understand what Malcolm X did and what Islamic Relief do. And again, for those of you who want to challenge yourself, have a look at that challenge question. Could you answer that? Could you answer it well? Have a go, pause the video, try and answer that, try and articulate your answer. Okay, let's have a little rapid maths feedback here. Pause the video now and write 1 to 9, true or false. Go. Okay, so if you have done that, if you haven't, you're about to cheat because you're going to see the answers. But if you have done that, let's check if you got it right. Okay, if you got it right, well done. If you didn't, please go back and look at the phrases or the questions you didn't understand. And just to finish off again, we have our keywords. We have our issues to revise. We have a bite-sized quotes all on the left-hand side. What they mean, what they imply, what they tell us. And again, we have a plethora of questions from the exam board about injustice. 4 marks, 6 marks, 8 marks. I mean, these 8 marks are fantastic. And you must emphasize, look at the question. Only religion can make a society fair. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Humans can never be equal. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Can you give your opinion and justify your opinion strong? Can you give an opinion and can you justify what you think and why you think what you think? Can you articulate yourself? Can you then give a Christian Muslim with quotes, references, justifying what they think and why they think what they think, linking it to religious teaching, and then you finish it off with an alternative view, which would be someone that disagrees with you and the reasons why they will disagree with you. Also, you could also use a humanist perspective or an atheistic perspective in relation to the question as an alternative. Make sure you secure that 8 mark, have a practice of those questions, bring it to myself or your teacher and we'll mark it for you. Okay, again, I've just got some questions here for you to practice on. Have a look at these questions, practice on them, see how you get along. Brilliant. Okay, excellent guys, take care, good luck with your revision, keep working hard and I'll see you soon.